If you've been discarded or broken up with by your avoidant partner, now your avoidant ex, it is essential for you and your own well-being that you go no contact. And no contact in a roundabout way benefits them too. You've probably heard a lot of information out there regarding no contact, sometimes conflicting advice. Well, let me break it down for you. No contact, what that truly means, it doesn't mean that you're ghosting them. It doesn't mean that you're ignoring them. You certainly can block them. Sometimes that can be the healthy choice, but you don't have to. What no contact really means is that you are not reaching out to them. You are not initiating communication with them. You're not begging, you're not chasing, you're not pleading. You're not trying to convince them to come back to the relationship. You're not trying to convince them to choose you. What you're doing is you are choosing yourself. Now, if they reach out to you, you can reply. That's not breaking no contact. Breaking no contact would be if you were initiating communication. And in the cases where you have children or any kind of shared business interests, of course, you can't just completely ignore the person, but you can still be in no contact. And what that looks like is you reach out to them for essential business only. Reach out to them regarding essential communication regarding the kids only. Now, let's get into the reasons why no contact is so important, starting with the most important reason, which is yourself. You are sending yourself a very powerful subconscious message by going into no contact. You're telling yourself, I've got my own back. My heart may be broken, but I'm still showing up for myself. You're telling yourself that I don't have to earn love. I don't have to chase. I don't have to convince them to choose me. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be chosen. And I respect myself enough to not chase somebody. No contact is very uplifting, even if you feel very heartbroken and down and out. It is absolutely a very powerful subconscious message because every action we take, it sends ourselves a subconscious message, whether we realize it or not. Now, instead of using no contact and sitting on the couch and staring at the ceiling and spiraling in despair, use that no contact to pour into yourself. Pour into you. Put effort and energy into things that are good for you, into your job, your career, your health, your fitness, friendships, family, your hobbies. Learn new skills, learn a new language, learn to play an instrument, learn a new sport. Travel places, but do things that are good for you. And one of the best things that you can do that's good for you is work on your own healing. Earn secure attachment. Learn why boundaries are essential and how boundaries can prevent you from ever going through this again. Learn to recognize the red flags of long-term emotional unavailability because you can set yourself up to not go through this again. And that's a big confidence booster. It really helps you heal and get to a more secure place when you are dialing in on learning the skills to show up better and choose better partners. So no contact is very powerful for you. It's very uplifting and it helps you heal and move on. Because when you get discarded by the avoidant, it is going to hurt. That's the reality. And you should allow yourself to feel those emotions. Allow yourself to feel the loss while you're in no contact because grieving helps you process the emotions. Don't try to suppress it. Let yourself feel it. But by going into no contact and putting energy into yourself while also simultaneously grieving, you have that fork in the road, right? When you get discarded, you can go down the path of more pain and prolonging it, or you can go down the path of healing and shortening the duration of the pain. And no contact is absolutely doing that. Because when you're still reaching out, you're chasing, you're trying to win them back. You're sending yourself very anxious messages. You're saying, I need to earn their love. I need to chase them. And every time you do communicate with them, you are reinforcing the addiction because there absolutely is an addictive factor to emotionally unavailable partners, especially avoidance. Because avoidance will breadcrumb in and out of the relationship, giving you just enough to keep you on the hook, but not enough to be truly fulfilling. What that does is it creates an addiction in your brain, the same way that a gambling addiction would affect the brain. When they give you the breadcrumbs, it comes with a dopamine rush, euphoria on your end. Dopamine is the reward hormone. And suddenly your needs are being met. Ooh, it feels great. I'm on cloud nine. But then they pull away, and your subconscious mind, instead of going, whoa, this is unhealthy, your subconscious mind is viewing them as the only way to get back to that happy, feel-good place. So you start chasing that. And when you get the breadcrumbs, boom, needs being met again. It is an addiction. Intermittent reinforcement is a very, very powerful psychological phenomenon that creates intense addiction. That's why people get addicted to things like gambling. Now, the same psychological principle even applies in animals. If you take a dog and you teach it to do a trick and you give it a treat every time it does the trick, it will quickly lose interest in doing the trick. But if you give it a treat only every handful of times it does the trick, it'll do the trick all day long. They did a similar study in lab rats. Similar results. Intermittent reinforcement is addictive to humans and animals alike. So when you are not in no contact, you keep on reinforcing that addiction, making it harder and harder and harder for you to heal and move on. The best way to get over an addiction is to quit cold turkey. And that's what no contact is. You are quitting them cold turkey. And that's why, especially for people that are more anxious and even more heartbroken, blocking them and not even giving them an outlet to reach out to you, no access, that can be very powerful in healing. It can be hard, feel painful, but you are helping yourself heal, because once you are over that addiction, once you are in a more healthy, secure place, the thought of going back to an emotionally unavailable avoidant that could discard you at the drop of a dime, that'll give you the ick. But in the meantime, show up for yourself. You can't control them, but you can control you. And one of the best ways of showing up for yourself and building your own self-trust and your own self-confidence is through no contact. Because when you're doing things that are good for you, you are teaching yourself to trust yourself. Like, look, I can navigate difficult things and heartbreaking things in a healthy way. I can show up for myself. And that helps you feel more secure and more confident when you do eventually go back to dating. Now, no contact benefits them too, because it finally allows them to feel some of the consequences of their actions. It lets them feel your absence. It lets them feel the loss of you. It's their choice. You're giving them exactly what they wanted. Now, when you don't do no contact and you're constantly reaching out, you're not allowing them to feel your absence, and you allow them to feel like you are always an available option for validation, and they never actually have to experience their choices, the consequences of their choices. Now, human beings are naturally motivated by scarcity, and avoidance are no exception. So when you're in no contact, you are making yourself scarce. You're not in plentiful supply, which makes you more desirable, which means now you're more desirable. Now they're allowing themselves to feel your absence, and that can be the splash of cold water on the face, the wake-up call for them to go, whoa, maybe I need to look at myself and work on myself. They may not get there. That's up to them. But one of the side effects of no contact can be you could actually assist them on a healing journey. Whether they do or not is entirely up to them, and you can't control that. And you certainly can't fix them, and you cannot fix them by loving them harder. But that scarcity absolutely can be a wake-up call. Take a look at the COVID pandemic, for example. People were hoarding toilet paper, not because COVID was an intestinal bug, but because people were afraid they couldn't have it. They naturally want what they can't have. And when the avoidant wants what they can't have, which is you, that can absolutely be a massive wake-up call, that big splash of cold water on the face. So there is that benefit. And they typically don't allow themselves to even feel your absence until enough time has gone by to where they feel like you might be moving on, and then they feel safe because there's no longer pressure for them to be emotionally available, to meet your expectations, to show up for you, and their nervous system feels safe, so they allow themselves to ruminate and miss access to you, miss the benefits of you. This is an emotionally unavailable person, so their missing you isn't the same as the way a healthy person would miss somebody. It's more along the lines of missing how you made them feel, missing the benefits of you. Now, it's very common for avoidants to reach out and breadcrumb during the no contact period. Breadcrumbing is validation seeking. See, when you bite on those crumbs, oh, look, this person still wants me. They're still an available option. See, I didn't really hurt them. I'm not the bad guy because, look, they still like me and want me. Helps them escape accountability, helps them get that validation, that external validation they so desperately crave. They are very insecure people who desperately need external validation to feel better about themselves, and breadcrumbing is a easy, low-risk way for them to do it. You don't have to bite those crumbs. You certainly don't have to validate them. First, you could block them, but you could also hold a boundary and say, hey, if you're not going to reach out with anything in a meaningful way, if there's no intent behind this reach out, then I ask you to please give me my time and space so I can heal. because every time you reach out without a real purpose of repairing things in a meaningful way, it just reopens the wound and makes it harder for me to heal. And holding a boundary like that is a very powerful way of showing up for yourself and sends you very powerful subconscious messages of, look, I can show up for myself, my needs matter, and breadcrumbing me isn't okay. It's a very secure message. And by not biting on the crumbs, you're not enabling them. But if you bite on those crumbs, you are enabling them. You're sending them the message that this behavior is okay, and they can discard somebody and breadcrumb them and always have them as an option. There's no incentive for them to work on themselves as long as they continue to get what they want. Now, in many cases, it also is common for them to reach out and want to give the relationship another try. And that can feel very tempting and very validating. But here's the thing. If they're not taking radical accountability, if they are not truly working on themselves, owning their attachment issues, and committed to change in a meaningful way, things like therapy, coaching, and showing you through their behaviors that they actually are following through with it, then rest assured it will happen to you again, and the second discard hurts just as much as the first, if not worse in many cases. And the same unhealed attachment wounds, the same insecurities, the same triggers will all still be simmering below the surface. And it will be inevitable that something in the relationship would trigger them and they do it to you all over again. So if they're showing you no real signs that they're taking accountability or working on themselves, believe them. And as tempting as it can be to take them back, doing so would be only asking for more pain and more heartbreak. So hold boundaries, and you can certainly hold a boundary on that. By the way, boundaries are your limits of what you'll allow, what you won't allow, what you'll tolerate, what you won't tolerate, what you need, what you don't need, what your expectations are, and what you'll subject yourself to. You actually set the boundaries with yourself because they're your limits. You can't control another person. Trying to control them would be an ultimatum. That doesn't work. Your boundaries are for you. Now, when you communicate your boundaries, you're giving them a bridge to meet you where you are, but that's their choice whether they want to cross that bridge or not. But anyway, you can hold a boundary on that and say, hey, listen, in order for me to feel comfortable giving this another try and putting my heart out there again, I would need to see that there is mutual investment of working, growing, healing together. And without that, I wouldn't feel comfortable going through this again because what happened really hurt, and I don't want to put myself through that again. And you're not obligated to give them another chance, period. And blocking them from the start after the discard can be a healthy choice for a lot of people, even though it's hard. Now, as for no contact time period, indefinite. That 30-day, 60-day, 90-day rule, throw that out the window. You're dealing with a person with attachment insecurities. That timetable does not apply because, 30 days, I'll reach out. You're just enabling them. You're just enabling them. And probably triggering them because your love, your intimacy, your emotions are what trigger them. This is an emotionally unavailable person that is specifically triggered by healthy relationship behaviors. It stems from profound emotional neglect in childhood. So giving them more of what triggers them isn't going to fix it, and it's only going to hurt you because you're chasing them. You're trying to earn their love. You're sending yourself anxious messages. No contact, indefinite. Indefinite. Just stay in no contact until they reach out to you, and even then you're not obligated to revisit anything with them. But no contact is essential, especially for you, and you also have the added benefit of not enabling them.